What's up, y'all? My name is Devontae, and I sacrificed my time so you don't have to. So check it out. I got off work yesterday, say around 10 o'clock at night, right? And I get the news about Ty Dillinger, Sean Spears coming to NXT, and I make a video on it. But the thing is, I'm still wide awake because I took a nap before I went to work like around 12 o'clock yesterday. And I'm off today, and I'm off tomorrow. So I said to myself, fuck it, I'm wide awake, get a backwood, roll up, smoke. I'm listening to Stillmatic from Nas, and underneath the album, so you know how you have like the algorithms and they'll start funneling in shorts and stuff like that, or remixes that's related to whatever music that you're listening to. Well, while I'm listening to Stillmatic, there's an interview underneath it, a short on YouTube from Nas, and I play it because I'm like, oh, okay, it's Nas. I'm curious what he's talking about. Whatever that's Nas say, I'm very curious as to hear what's coming out of his mouth. And damn, I'm going to link it down in the description box so you guys can see what the correlation is with the video as far as the topic is considered. He was talking about rappers who for some reason today, well, not for some reason, there's a reason why he said it, but I mean like, he's saying that rappers today, and mind you, this is going back even like a decade beforehand, a decade and a half even, I guess, maybe even further, where he's talking about rappers so badly wanting to go overnight to be in pop. And he was like, if they could just take the time to appreciate what they currently have at the moment, now all of them would be failing and falling off as quickly as they're falling off. The reason why they're falling off so easily is it's more or less just saying like, embrace what you have, take the time to build up, you know, don't miss the scenery while you're driving, and embrace and appreciate everything that you're doing going forward, because those little things that you're picking up, that's what's going to make you the next pot. And everybody just wants so badly to be the next pot off rip, like day one. You feel like once you get that contract, like you just right there, you on pot level, you on big level, you on Nas level, you on M's level. And I related that to professional wrestling because it's like, it's all the time. Whenever you go on Twitter, right? And whenever you see people talk about professional wrestling, and you see it in the comment section on YouTube channels also, and it's been going on as long as I can remember. Even friends, I remember talking about it in school during the Attitude Era, where you will look at mid-carders and you'll say to yourself, like, oh yeah, I like that guy. Because even as a kid, it always just transpired in my mind, like, that doesn't make any sense. Like, for an example, I remember somebody saying when I was a kid, probably like back in, I want to say maybe 2002-ish, around that area, they were talking about Raven, right? And Raven's a great character. Raven was awesome as a main eventer in ECW, which at the time you can kind of look at, in my opinion, as far as being one of the first ever independent promotions. And as much as I love Raven, as good as he was at his promos, people were talking about he should be, you know, going up there and he should be fighting against Jericho at the time for the Undisputed Championship, or, you know, the Undertaker should revert back to his Ministry of Darkness gimmick or his, you know, Dead Man gimmick at all and just start feuding with Raven. And it's not to say that's a bad idea, because, you know, you take what the person is doing as far as the gimmick is considered, and then you conflate it with the message, and then obviously it just fits so well with the other character. But you do have to understand that that person that's going against that other character, like, you just can't outright do that with everybody. You feel me? Like, with all due respect to Raven, and I love Raven as a character, in 2002, homie was like maybe main event at Sunday Night Heat. You know what I mean? Raven was a joke as far as his build is considered. And you can say that they could have done better with Raven coming out of the gate. I understand that. I get that. But we're talking about the situation at the moment. You could talk about what you could do as far as what can better his booking. I get that. And that's going to come into, we're going to talk about that as far as today's response also. But you still have to understand at the end of the day that Raven is booked in the manner that he's booked, and you can't put him in the ring with The Undertaker. Not everybody can be the main eventer. And that's the whole problem I'm having with professional wrestling today when talking to other fans. Whenever you talk to them, they automatically have to perceive that everybody who's not getting a shot at the main event title or not in the main event scene automatically means that they're dead in the water. And that's further from the truth. That couldn't be any further from the truth. Not everybody is meant to be a main eventer. You have cats who will talk about Owen Hart, for an example, and they'll immediately say to themselves, like, man, god damn, bro, Owen should have been a champion. He damn sure should have been a world champion. And I'm not here to actually say that he shouldn't have been a world champion, right? I'm not here to say that. There was a time period, say around, I want to say maybe WrestleMania 10, right? Around that time to before he started teaming up with Yoko. So I want to say WrestleMania 10 to maybe Survivor Series in 94. There was a time period that you could have probably put the belt, on Owen and it wouldn't look out of place. But then you have people who were saying, oh, well, maybe Owen could have been champion in 97 going into 98 after the whole Hart Foundation thing fell apart after the Montreal Screwjob. No, that couldn't have worked. Not with Austin rising. That wouldn't have worked. Not with Undertaker and Kane feuding. Not with D-Generation X right there. He was nothing more than a transitional piece, right? You have people who would say things like, for an example, British Bulldog should have been a world champion. Maybe. Can I think of a time frame? Maybe in late 95? Maybe? Okay. But he had a place. He's memorable. Roddy Piper, the same thing. Theoretically, if anybody had a deserving position to be a world champion, it could have been Roddy Piper because he was feuding legitimately with Hulk Hogan in the very, very beginning of the expansion period. I can understand an argument like that, but that's a legitimate argument. You're talking about a legitimate main eventer who never won the world championship feuding against Hulk Hogan. I get that. But then you fast forward, and as you start to go forward and more forward, it starts to get even more ridiculous as time goes on. And these people, because at least back in the days, the constructive criticism back then was, well, the character is doing such a great job as far as holding mine and other people's attention. That's why I believe they should be in that position to be the world champion, at least for the perspective of having the former champion have a chase to go after the person. And again, there are a lot of people like that back in the days. Like I said, a Roddy Piper is one. Obviously, someone like a Ted DiBiase would be probably another one. If he had a legitimate run, someone like a Andre the Giant. I never really consider his run, if you even want to call that, it wasn't really a run. When they gave the belt after the whole Twin Hebner stuff on Saturday Night Main Event back in 88, that's not a run. He only held the belt for a little bit before he gave the belt to Ted DiBiase. That's before they vacated it and they had the whole tournament at WrestleMania 4. There are a lot of people in that position that you can consider who should have actually chased after it. But look at today's landscape, for an example. Look at how many people will see a segment with a superstar then say to themselves, man, that was such a hell of a goddamn match. He should be a world champion. It's like, homie, it's a match. Like, they're not even talking anymore about, like, what happened from point A to point B as far as the story is considered. They're looking at a specific match. Sometimes it wouldn't even be on the pay-per-view. Not that I'm even considering you having that mindset or that mentality coming out of a pay-per-view, because that'd still be ridiculous. I will look at that as a way to maybe break out, and then you can start focusing on that person a little bit more because they're exciting and watching the ring. But to look at a singular match on a show with a random other wrestler, nah, bro. If anything, that's what catches your attention. That's what catches your eye initially. It's what happens on the television show. How many times have I talked about this, bruh? There's a reason why I always say character over in-ring work. It's not to say that I don't like the in-ring work, but especially in today's age, we see it so much that you really can't distinguish from what's good or what's bad. I just used it as an example a couple of days ago, but you just had that match with Sammy Guevara and Will Hobbs, right? They did everything underneath the sun. You had Sammy Guevara do a swanton bomb off a ladder in the inside of the ring to the outside of the ring on Hobbs through 2 tables on a B show. On a B show. Now ask yourselves, did you even remember that spot? If you even watched the show, let alone the match, did you even remember that spot? Does that spot even linger in your mind even 2 hours after the show goes off the air? Nah, because it happens so much. I can tell you right now, when Jeff Hardy did a regular swanton bomb to Bubba Ray off the ladder on TLC, 1, never mind 2, 1, everybody popped for it. Everybody popped for it because it was a part of something that was uprising. It was, I don't know how to put it. It was never done before to that degree. People argue ECW and stuff like that. Okay, but not to that degree, not with that production, not with that many eyes on the talent in itself. Like I said, you're comparing ROH to WWE in today's day and age. If you're saying ECW as an example, doesn't work that way. Or hell, maybe today I'll probably say TNA. It doesn't work that way. But there was a reason behind that. You know why it didn't work in the ECW back in the late 90s, for an example, versus it working with the Hardy Boys and the Edge and Christian and the Dudley Boys in the year 2000 and 2001? It's because people were invested into the Hardy Boys. It's because people were invested into the Edge and Christian. It's because people were invested into the Dudley Boys, and they made the most out of what they did in that match with that many eyes on them for an actual purpose, versus just doing the match for the sake of being hardcore like it was in ECW. And look what happened after those TLC matches. Look at the beneficiaries of that TLC matches. 2, and this is not a knock at all to a Christian who's killing it right now in AEW, who's one of the most underrated talents in professional wrestling history. This is not a knock on Matt. This is not even a knock on the Dudley Boys. But look at the 2 stars that came out of that match because of that, who grew from that and who had a legacy and who are now considered legendary. Edge and Jeff Hardy. Those are 2 of the main stars going throughout the year 2000 because of a match like that. They had to work their way up. Edge and Jeff, both of them. And you can include Brett and Shawn in that same conversation also. They started off as a tag team. They made their way through the mid-card. They eventually made their way to the World Heavyweight Championship. It's steps to this, man. It's ways to get to it's like today's rappers. And it's funny how Nas was saying that because I absolutely agree, bruh. I look at the rappers today, and any musician, to be honest with you, and you know why their songs suck so hard. People say all the time, oh, I think I heard Blackie Speak say this. And it's not to say that I disagree. I just feel like that's one of the reasons. But there's another reason, and I think it's a bigger reason. Yeah, you can argue in the end of the day that, oh, you have record labels who don't give the artist time nowadays to actually construct what they want to put out. So it actually has meaning. So it actually has creative input inside it that actually makes sense. You know, it's kind of hard to be different, and it's kind of hard to be creative when you only have like a month or 2 to work on your album. And for the most part, all you can really do is just throw your hands up because the record labels just want it out immediately. And then it bombs. So, hell, what are you going to do next time to make up for that bomb? Well, shit, let's just follow the trend and let's just do what the fuck they're doing. Again, I get it. It's why the wrestlers nowadays who are underneath Vince McMahon have that same mindset. Well, shit, this ain't really hitting right because Vince ain't giving me the opportunity. So how about I just kiss ass and follow the trend and do what everybody else is doing, and maybe I can stand out a little bit more. And when everybody has that mentality, then it's a domino effect and everybody follows that same path of mentality, and then you get to the position where you're at right now where everything is super stagnant. Same thing can be said about an AEW when it comes to the indie mindset, that no one seems to be recognizing, no one seems to be breaking. But like I said, there's another reason. When talking about the artists in the music department, it's not just the whole simple, the whole thing with the contracts and all this stuff with the music industry and stuff like that. It's also not working club circuits. It's also not being able to legitimately hone your craft outright. You know, going to clubs like comedians, trying to play out your material and getting booed. You don't understand. Criticism is the best thing that can happen to you, bro. Constructive criticism, actual constructive criticism. Not just saying, oh, you're garbage or you're shit or anything like that. That's not constructive. That's just a butthurt motherfucker who just sees what you're doing. And 9 times out of 10, they either A, just don't vibe with that music style, or B, they're just trolling you. What else can you do with that? That's not constructive. Constructive is actually identifying a problem and saying, hey, yo, homeboy, you see you lacking in that area right there. That's constructive criticism. Booing ain't bad at all. Negativity ain't bad at all. It's the other side of the coin that's going to help you grow as a human being. And it's like, none of these artists understand what it means to actually be on the grind. Going on fucking social media and posting your shitty music to a bunch of your fans who are going to be sitting there in your echo chamber telling you how great you are ain't the grind. The grind is having $13 to your name to get through 2 weeks with a little bit of gas in your car to get to the next town, hoping that you can actually be good at that club, earn enough money to put gas in your car again to go to the next town. And you have to do everything in your being to make sure that song is popping. So, because if you don't, then hell, who knows? maybe you won't get booked at that club again. Maybe that bonus for the crowd actually asking for you to return for an encore that maybe ain't there right now. Maybe you bombing in this area right here, that club owner go tells the next club owner what the fuck you just did right here, and now they don't want you in that club playing your shitty ass music. That's the grind. That's understanding, oh shit, maybe I should actually go out of my way to put some actual meaning into what I'm doing so people can understand where I'm coming from. And hell, maybe then I can get more bookings, and then I can make more money, and then this $13 inside this shitty car with this little bit of gas can turn into an Escalade with millions of dollars, with other people driving, putting gas in my car for me. That's what these wrestlers, I don't think, really understand, or they haven't really been through. Especially the AEW wrestlers. Because it's one thing to go to the PC Center in WWE and you have to work their bullshit monotonous style. But at the very least, you have NXT. A small, intimate crowd. Now, granted, they're on television, and that's a bad thing. But still, to a lesser degree, I get it. And they tour still. They've been doing house shows since COVID stopped for about 2 or 3 years now? So they have a way to hone their craft to show in front of the audience, hey, whether or not I can actually go out there and apply that same thing that I did in this match right here to pop this audience later on. Right? I look at something like AEW for an example, and it's like they don't have any of that. They don't have a proper training grounds. They don't have any house shows they run, and they feel like, whoa, golly gee willikers. I guess now that I don't have this fucking house show to run, that means I got more hours of the day to just sit around on my ass and just exercise all day. Maybe is that the way they're thinking? Which is stupid. That's not working. That's not working. You thinking that you can go back and forth and sparring with your buddies in the ring, doing the most absolute cringe shit possible inside the ring that is just as monotonous from a WWE standpoint when looking at what the fuck they're doing, as far as like doing the same repetitive bullshit, you know what I'm trying to say, as far as the matches are considered. Very formulaic when it comes to an AEW match that I don't think no one ever talks about. Just because there's different moves sprinkled in with different sequence doesn't mean that it's not the same mentality going forward as far as what they're trying to get across with the rest of the audience. Same thing like WWE. Again, it's two heads of the same coin. But think about it for a second. Imagine you having someone like a Ricochet. And I'm using WWE for an example right now. Imagine having someone like a Ricochet who could do all these flips, all these kicks, jumping out the ring and doing all this shit from an offensive standpoint. Now imagine taking all of that and using that as a way to sell. Think about it for a second. What seems more impressive to you? What's going to catch your eye because you've seen it so many times? Running off the ring and doing the shooting star press? Or, for an example, someone big booting you in the face and you hitting the shooting star press as a sell? What stands out more to you, huh? What stands out more to you? What stands out more to you? Doing a Phoenix splash off the turnbuckle? Huh? Or someone like a Roman Reigns spearing you and you fucking inside out of yourself like in a Phoenix splash step away as a sell job. And people say to themselves, oh, that might be super duper corny, but guess what? That's what's going to get you over. That type of sell job right there, that's what's going to get you over. That type of shit right there. And then when people start to notice you, you use that right there as because that's where someone like a Dolph Ziggler, who was really great at selling, that's what he didn't understand. He didn't stand out from the pack after the selling. The sell job was good enough. That's what made him stand out. But that's all he's known for. He could have used that as a pathway to finally get on the microphone and actually identify and relate to the audience. That could have been his pathway to go on a long fucking promo rant, really getting himself over. None of that fucking, I started from the bottom, now I'm here. None of that nonsense. None of that, I worked so damn hard type of promos. No, none of that bullshit. Actually relating to the audience. Actually telling them why you should endorse me. Look at Stone Cold Steve Austin. And again, maybe that's an extreme exaggeration because he's Austin at the end of the day, but I'm just using him as a focal point. Look at Austin when he was, starting to transition into his Austin gimmick. What broke him away from the pack? He was a badass. Had the old piercing blue eyes, staring at the camera. Very, very sinister back in the days with how Austin used to talk, right? Very, very no one was doing that tweener shit, maybe besides Kevin Nash at the time. And then Austin got the opportunity after he won the King of the Ring to cut that promo. It wasn't just winning the King of the Ring. He got the King of the Ring opportunity because of the character that he was trying to put across. And the character got over, which means that he can go in the King of the Ring and he can win. Which means now when after he wins, he has to make a speech. And what was that speech that he made? We all know it. Austin 3:16 says, "I just whipped your ass." You see what I mean? That's what I mean when I say there's steps to this shit. There's steps to becoming a main eventer. Just going out there and pretending that, hey man, I can do all these flips and kicks. Man, I'm such a great star as far as what I can get across from the perspective of what the sycophants in my echo chamber on social media underneath my profile with 10 million followers tells me. You got to get out of that mind frame. You got to get out of that mentality, because it's that mentality that's going to hold you back in the end of the day. And to the fans who keep enabling this behavior, stop. You can have a favorite and understand at the end of the day that not everybody is meant to be in the position that you want them to be in just because you like them. And I see fans all the time talking about how they want to boycott this show. They want to hijack this show because a certain superstar that they believe should be in the main event isn't in the main event. That's not how it works, homeboy. There are steps to this. There are levels to this shit. And you skipping every last level believing that your perspective, not even your perspective, your priority should be taking heed. And that's how nowadays you start creating all these babies, bruh. All these babies believing that, hey man, I'm not getting what I want, so let me pound my fist and let me kick my feet, and maybe, just maybe, they'll listen to me and they'll give me what I want, and then you get what you want, and then everything falls apart. Bryan Danielson, perfect example. I like Bryan, but still, look at him, perfect example. 2014, you bitch, cried, moaned, and groaned about Bryan getting the main event of WrestleMania, and what happened afterwards? Dude was injured. Dude got another concussion, was out for damn near the majority of 2014. Then in 2015, then he retired and didn't come back till 2018. That's the position you put people in because you don't think about what the fuck is going on. At the very least, map out what the fuck you feel should be happening. Map out in your mind the priorities of what you feel, for an example, the superstar has at the moment, and then conceivably tell yourself whether or not they're ready for the main event scene. Tell yourself, what feuds have they participated in so far? What promos have they done to stand out? What matches have they won to actually build up some momentum for themselves? What accomplishments have they actually done to make it more conceivable as far as a resume is considered before they get to the main event scene? Things that don't really float through the average fan's mind. It's always, let's get from point A to point Z right away. Skip all the way. No B to fucking Y. Just from point A to point Z. And then when they get there, they understand that there's a few things that they missed in between, and then they fail. And then you jump off their bandwagon because they fell off. And then you get mad all of a sudden. And then you say, why is professional wrestling in the state that it's in right now? It's because your mentality, everybody's mentality, went like this for every other wrestler. You can't get mad. You can't get upset. Because it was your mentality that created this situation to begin with. Let me know your thoughts down in the comment section below. Just wanted to get this off my chest. I heard that interview from Nas and it just made me think, bro. Like, you know what? This can actually go to professional wrestling just as much, if not way more, than what is perceived in music and especially in the rap game nowadays. Not everybody's meant to be a main eventer. And if that's what you want them to be, at the very least, don't enable the behavior that constitutes them to believe that they should be in that position. When you know damn well every criteria that needs to be checked off to be in that position, they haven't even started at fucking number 2. They're still at number 1. And they still got 99 ways to go. Let me get out of here, man. Unless something else pops off later on today, I'll catch you guys later on the Dynamite Review. As always, deuces, P, ice.